Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beyond the Frame. My name is Jay Nephew, and I'll be your host today. With me today, we have a very special guest all the way from Statesboro, Georgia, and he's live in the Skybox, which is the VIP room for him, Mr. Darrin Van Tassell. Welcome, Darrin.
Jay, it's a big thrill to be here. We are live at the Clubhouse here in Statesboro, Georgia. We're happy to have the facility back open in the most extraordinary, bizarre, interesting time I hope all will ever have in terms of
I hope
businesses.
it's also the only one we ever have like this, right?
We don't need two.
One's enough, exactly. One's enough. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk to you about your reopening experience. You know, Georgia was the first state to allow bowling centers to open. And you and I had this little conversation before we went live on the air. I didn't know this. I thought, oh, maybe you were one of the first ones to open. But you actually told me that the mayor came, or the governor came out on a Wednesday and said, okay, you can open on Friday. And you were like, we're not ready yet. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was a strange day when Governor Kemp made his announcement on Wednesday. It certainly caught us off guard. And while we were all happy to control our own destinies, right? On a Wednesday, we heard that bowling centers, tattoo parlors, massage parlors, hair salons could all open up by Friday. Listen, we were getting kicked right in the teeth with being closed that long, but we clearly weren't ready to open that fast. I think you got to take your temperature. There was a couple of reasons. One, I don't think our guests were ready to come.
Right. And that's the concern for a lot of people, right?
Yeah. But I also can tell you, until we had submitted our reopening plan to our insurance company, we weren't going to be able to be.
Interesting.
That took a little bit of time. It's a fairly detailed document, but we had to get those down. You have to get staff back in place. We were all sheltered in place no matter where they were. And we're a university town. Georgia Southern University is here in Statesboro, so a lot of our staff was in different places too. So by the time we mobilized everybody, it was about 2.5 weeks after the official call came. Because bowling was opened up early in Georgia, it also came with a very specific set of requirements. So
okay,
and we're still under those guidelines. Every other lane, we can only use every other lane. So there are no paired lane possibilities in our house at the moment.
Okay.
24 lane center. 4 of those lanes are in our private area here with that we call the Skybox. It's really upgraded and got a lot of the latest bells and whistles that Cubica has. And it's an exciting place for us to be able to do everything from hosting corporate events to pajama popcorn parties to recruiting sessions for all the athletes that are in our university here.
Great
place, and it works just like you'd hope it would be. But tons of adjustments that we've made to the opening policies, and we're happy to walk our viewers through those things if you'd like.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about your video that you made first of all, because that's what really attracted us. We posted your video on our Beyond the Frame about a week ago, I think maybe. And you took a little bit different approach. On Tuesday, I had Anthony Peroni, and Anthony's watching the video, I believe, right now. Hi, Anthony. Bill Gates.
We're happy to have Anthony here. It's an honor.
It is an honor, right? And Anthony made his video in a little bit different fashion. He took a very personal approach to it and talked about his family and their commitment and but you also took a very caring approach, but you did it from a visual point of view, and you showed it as a point of view of a person a customer coming through the.
That's right.
And first of all, you used Funky Town as the background music, so already you got some.
Already we made it a hit, right?
Yeah, but I watched that video so many times. It's really interesting. You show right off the bat. These are all the things that I just learned by watching a less than 1 minute video. I learned that you have separate lines for people who have reservations and maybe walk-ins. That it mentions that you have clean fun going there. I have to look at my notes. That masks are required and would possibly be given or sold to you if you didn't have one. The temperature was being taken, that social distancing was being practiced, even for the bathrooms, and that everything was sanitized. And you showed how, your ball sanitization was and how the customer received the ball, and that the customer would still enjoy themselves. And, it looked like the girl that was on the video, she struck and she was having a good time.
Yeah,
So
it was great.
what was your thought process? Because you did that on TikTok, right?
We did. Well, first of all, we're a hip place here, Jay. TikTok's the way to do this. And
Yes.
if there's a better song than Funky Town to describe, we haven't found it yet. Listen, I mean, a lot of it, you want to make it fun because that's what we try to give. And we're all in the experience and memory creating business. We don't want to create bad memories. But until we could show that our guests that, hey, this is what it's going to look like, you can be prepared for it. But I want you to see, we can keep you safe.
Yep.
If you're not worried about being safe, then listen, then the video is just an idea for what you're walking into. But if you clearly are worried about it, we can do it. So we've had some of our elderly league bowlers who've come out and they've felt incredibly safe because we can do it here. You're not going to catch the common cold at the clubhouse right now.
Right.
We've locked it down that much, but we can't lock it down to the point that we can't still run the business. So here's where we are at the moment. By the way, I thought the idea of roping off the house balls and then pushing them underneath the rope so that, the guests could get them. After every settee area and the tables are clean, we put down a little thing that says, hey, this area has been sanitized. And so, but it helps our guests and it helps everybody else. We've been able to move to an online reservation system too, so we can go cashless even more so than we could in the past.
Nice.
We've got a full family entertainment center and it's not just bowling. And so while we haven't been able to bring our leagues back in just yet, we're slowly moving into our go-karts and our bumper cars and our arcade. But bowling's always going to be the heart and soul of, the pieces that we have here. If we can't keep you safe, then we're going to be out of business. So it's about that self-interested. And I thought the video was a great job. I love to tell you that it completely was staff driven.
Nice.
Driven by, our folks that work here. They produced it themselves. They did it. And it was fun. And so we've now done one for how are you going to do miniature golf? How are you going to do our go-karts? How are you going to do our bumper cars? The next one that we're about to open is our, our arcade. We still haven't opened up to laser tag yet. And again, listen, it's slowly going. We're on our third week now, Jay. It's slowly ramping up to life. I'll be very open with you. We're 10 to 15% of income right now.
Wow.
We're 90 to 80, 85 to 90% off.
That's crazy.
It has to do because not everything's open.
For sure.
In here, but the demand is we're still working on that. We're still getting, in terms of all of that. And while our grocery stores and department stores, I think, those are where so much of the traffic is. I think we're slow to sort of get folks to the place where they want to come back and be ready to go. We're here for you. We're here for you when they are. And last weekend was a really nice uptick in terms of where thing has been. And it's only going to get better.
It will. We've seen that evidence with Anthony's Place, where he's actually ahead of last year's revenue on Memorial Day, which was really pleasant to hear. I was
so
shocked.
Good, Anthony. I'm glad you listened. And tip of the hat to all of that. We're going to get there. We're in this for the long haul, but we're in a tough one to move through. And our first answer to everything, Jay, is I don't know. And yet we still have to figure out a plan.
But you're being honest with your customer base, and you're communicating very well with that customer base. You're doing all the things that we talk about you should be doing in many of these Beyond the Frames in our webinar series, right? You've communicated and shown effectively how a customer can feel safe. You've got evidence of people telling you that after being there. So you've really hit a home run with that. And now you're mirroring that same philosophy with your other attractions. So you're setting yourself up for success there in the long run. And I think that if you are a proprietor who has not yet opened, I think you have to stop and take a look at the people who've been doing it for a few weeks and the people who have seen success and challenges, so you can understand maybe what to avoid and maybe what you should focus more on. And if that's me, I'm going to tell you, you should have some types of video out there, you know, whether it's from the heart as the owner speaking, or like you did with the staff. I love the idea of the staff being involved and taking ownership of that, because imagine how proud they are now when they hear praise about the video, right?
Yeah. Hey, here's what's even a better reality. You're giving me credit for the video. I don't think we had the foresight to do the video without the staff. And
who cares?
Isn't it brilliant? Isn't it brilliant?
It is.
I mean,
good.
It mattered to them. I mean, it mattered to us. We asked them, all right, how are we going to get the message out? We're going to let your people know. And they said, oh my God, TikTok, I'm on it. And within, 30 minutes, they had it done. And it was nice because we already had the systems in place.
Sure.
It could show up really, really quickly.
Now, do you know how many hits the video's gotten?
I need to go and look. I will say I am a closet TikToker.
Oh, you are? Okay. I haven't committed yet. So,
it comes on. You'll never get that time back. It's beyond mindless. You'll laugh, smile, and cringe. And you're like, oh my God, how did the last 45 minutes pass? And then check it out again another time. But, in our case, listen, it's about messaging. We're real. We want to be honest with you. You're not going to get sick here. And we're going to need folks to get through this time, because while we all are looking for whatever it comes back to normal, we know that when the vaccine shows up, the virus is still going to be out there. But
true.
We don't have to quarantine ourselves, because hospitals will find ways to manage through the whole thing.
Anthony said, video was very well done and great choice for the TikTok for platform. And I agree, Anthony. I want to say hi to Dottie, Scott, and Stephanie, who are watching, along with Kathy, Dora, and Lizzie. She's watching with us too. Hi,
great.
Kathy. So I asked you off camera too, and you said I could talk about this, because I thought, how great that you're really letting someone who wants to come and maybe have a little bit of fun and get out of this mindset, you're showing them what's going to happen when they get to your business. And the one thing that I was like, I wonder how the temperature checks are working out. And I asked you, I said, what happens if someone tests, like they have a fever? How do you handle that?
So we're really, really adamant about it in terms of our training, but there's two things. So you do have to wear a mask, but the mask and temperature check are rules by the governor. I will tell you, before we went into the shelter in place and lockdown, we had already started doing temperature checks, because you could just feel this thing building a little bit with the, the laser one, you do wireless touch and right there. To tell you the truth, most people are saying thank you. That, oh my gosh,
good
temperature taken today. Thank you very much.
It reinforces the safety that they feel when they come then.
That's right. And we'll take any kind of mask covering. For us, it's out of respect, but it's also the state law. And so it's easy to produce both in this regard. We've only had one person who wasn't too happy about let us know by throwing his rental shoes down the lanes. I thought that was a great example for his 8 and 10-year-old, but
yeah, right.
Has been super thankful, because they know they can be safe.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a great anecdotal story. When we opened up that first day, one of our first couples in here, they were both in their 70s. They were on a date. They were married, and said, thank you for keeping us safe. They just needed it. They needed their time. They weren't very good bowlers, by the way, but that didn't matter.
They were there to have a good time.
They saw the video. They knew that it was going to be in a way that they weren't going to have to worry or be stressed. They had lunch with us. Anyway, all of those things are heartwarming. They matter to us, don't they? I mean, listen, if we're not making the economics of this work, we got challenges for all of our centers, but none of us got into this business for anything other than being part of our towns and cities that we live in.
We're woven right into the fabric of the community. Absolutely.
It's part of our revenue is what makes us feel right. We can't do this. We can't do this forever.
No.
Now it's what we're doing. And it's incumbent upon us to, I think, exercise. These are moments of leadership, and it's time for somebody to step up and show leadership. And in our small way at the center, this is what we're going to do. We're here for you. You're going to have great fun here, and you can do it safely. That's the message.
So that's the message that
matters. If you don't think it matters, then I don't think your business is going to survive in this climate.
No, that's for sure. And that's the message that, we want all proprietors and owner and operators to think about how they're going to express to their community if they haven't already done so.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. The whole mask mandate, there are a lot of cities and townships that have mask mandates. I'll tell you the temperature here in Texas is very lukewarm. We have a mask mandate in the city, but if you walk around and go to a grocery store or a department store here in Houston, you'll find probably half of the people don't have masks on.
Yeah. I think that's the case here too, Jay. It's very lukewarm. Yep. Inside the clubhouse, it's 100% mandatory. And
you can't get in a Costco without one. You're not going to get in a Best Buy without one. So, I understand that. And, I was one of those, personally, I was one of those people who's like, I'm not wearing a mask all the time. But now I look at it differently because I look at it as a sign of respect to the other people that I'm around. And I don't want them to feel like I might give them something. So I'll put my mask on now for sure, because I see it differently, at least myself. I'm hoping as Americans, we can all see that side of the coin for a while when we don't feel like.
Yeah. Listen, my phrase lately is we all reserve the right to get smarter. And every day, there's something new and there's something different. And sometimes I think we get frustrated because we want something more set in stone and be ready to go. I am of the same sort of thing, but we're in an era where we don't know everything each day. And the next day we learn something else, and that might even change what we learned 3 weeks ago.
And you might have to pivot your plan because you got to change something, right?
And so we're just trying to breathe right now. And to do what we can and find a way for people to still exercise and to do it safely. We still opted to do our a free bowling for kids program that we borrowed away from, others do it around the country. We do it ours. We put it out there. We made sure that parents knew, hey, here's how we're going to do it.
And you're still running it during this time.
We're going to start at June 1 and we're going to keep running it. Our kids get to come bowl, for free during the summer. It still matters to us. If families aren't ready for it, then that's a fine decision too. But we wanted to make sure that we could provide that, still do it well, and be ready for folks when they're ready to start opening up. As a business, we're ready for you. And, you can't grow and hit all cylinders again until you're ready on the operational side. So
right. And you better have that operational plan, and your staff better know it inside and out if you're ready to open.
I'll tell you something else, Jay. One thing that we did do, it was 39, 42 days. I think we were closed. Nothing. We could do curbside delivery for our kitchen and all that. And some folks really stepped up and did that for us, but we took the chance. We repainted the whole center while we were closed. I will tell you, since we're on a Cubica show, that our rep did a great job of reaching out to us and making sure what are some things that you guys how can we help, and doing some things and actually place some orders for out there in the future for some things we want to do. And like every other proprietor, I think our lane machines and ball returns are working better now than they could possibly have because we had time to get to it. So we had to make sure that we were doing that, and shame on us if we didn't,
right,
properly. But we are ready to go here.
Well, you said a lot there. I appreciate the nod to us as being a help to you. That was our goal from Cubica's point of view. When this started to come down, we talked. The Rosa Katz is the director of customer engagement. And Stephanie Darby's marketing, and we were talking about like what should we be doing right now, and we all agreed we should be focusing on services for all bowling entities, not just our particular customers, but even if they're not our customer, because we need the bowling industry to be strong and to survive. We want that, right? We want that for everybody. It'd be great if, every other bowling company just went under. That wouldn't be good for us, right? That would not be good for us. You would think like, oh, if you're a monopoly, but we don't want that to happen. That's not what's going to provide making bowling amazing for the future. If we're the only player in the game, we won't have any time to make bowling amazing.
Well, listen, more bowlers are better for all of us. And
absolutely. Bowling is bowling. So I thank you for that. And we have our support system and our resources page available to anybody. So if you're not one of our loyal customers, it's fine. You can start anytime you want being a customer of us. You don't have to. We will still be there to support you.
Yeah. AJ, one more shout out, all those resources that you guys have put, we've used them on our marketing folks, our our folks that does that for us have been in there, and we use quite a bit of it in terms of we had our return to play or reopening package for our insurance company who needed to see those things. So you had it in a template where we could use it, make it work how we could do it here at the clubhouse. Super helpful. And where, those are the pieces that you probably don't get enough feedback by. We needed it. And it got us to getting back to open so much faster. So thank you.
Because you didn't have to create something stupid that you didn't have time to do.
Amen.
Yeah, right. That was the goal. Well, listen, Darrin, before I go, because we are coming up to our time here, I try to keep them around 20 minutes, but I could talk to you for another half hour. I want to have you share a word of hope or encouragement to all the people watching, especially the owner operators. Give them your best advice right at this time.
Well, listen, I don't think even though it felt like we got in this job overnight, there's so many things that I think we're in the business of. I tell our staff and I tell myself, we're really not in the bowling business. We are in the memory making business.
That is right.
Experience business. And we've got to provide good experiences. At the moment, we're dealt with a disease and a healthcare piece that makes it, creating that experience clearly more challenged than any of us want. There are so many folks who want to get it right. I'm not going to take my cues from the guy who took his shoes and threw them down the lanes. He was having a tough day. We probably just typified it for us. But the memories that I have are the folks that are coming in. They're very thankful. Quite frankly, they're grateful. They want to get out. None of us asked for this sort of piece, but and we're operating in the most bizarre of times. But people still do matter. People want to gather. People want to continue to create memories. That's not changing under any circumstance. So it's been an expensive sort of reshaping of how we're going to do this. And we can't do this a second time. And so we got to get it right. We have to get it right. And so if there's any sort of memory of encouragement, I guess it is that, there are so many voices that are pleased with what we're doing. They're happy to be around and memories aren't going to go away. We're going to still want those experiences, and that's our job. That's our responsibility. And it's time for that kind of leadership to step up. And we're happy to be a part of that, not just in terms of being part of the Cubica family, but all the things that are going on here in Statesboro, Georgia, and our part of this part of the country.
Well, we're happy to have you inspire us with your hard work. So hopefully you've started a little trend here, or you've helped spark that trend along, and other people will take your cue and run with it even farther, maybe. So I want to say thank you for your time today. I do want to talk about a couple resources before I let you go, though.
Still here.
We have the resources page at cubicaamf.com. Darrin, you were talking about the reopening marketing kit. We've got that available for anyone who'd like it. You can download the pieces there. Lots of helpful things like floor decals and signage for clean and sanitize there, all sorts of stuff. You don't have to reinvent the wheel there. We've got it for you. Take it and use it as you wish. Join us next week on Wednesday for our webinar series where we're going to go back to league bowling, and you and I could probably talk another hour about that because that's going to be a challenge for you guys, right? At least specifically your center or your locale. Then next week, Dottie San Martin's going to be back here on Beyond the Frame with 2 guests on Tuesday and Thursday for you guys. So we'll be able to keep you in the right frame of mind until next time. So on behalf of Cubica AMF, Darrin Van Tassell of the Clubhouse in Statesboro, Georgia, and myself, Jay Nephew, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. And you have a wonderful weekend. Darrin, thanks again.
Everybody. Thank you, Jay.
Have a wonderful
Thanks, everybody.
Take care now.